What's a funny thing about the 4 fundamental forces, Oscar? What's a
Um,
hilarious comedic fact about the 4 fundamental forces? What are the 4 fundamental forces for context?
Okay, so the 4 fundamental forces, so far as we know, are gravity, which you know what gravity is.
It's a knee slapper. That's full comedy.
That's funny, right?
Yeah.
And then there's the weak nuclear force. It has a small dick. And then the strong nuclear force, which notice wears a large dick.
Oh, I love strong nuclear force. It's so funny, dude. I fucking love strong nuclear force.
Yeah, exactly. Strong nuclear force. So let me. There's a few different types already. I think that I don't know enough about the strong and weak nuclear force. Electromagnetism is the thing that makes magnets work, and it's also the thing that makes light go. So consider that.
Is that number 4?
Is that number 4? Yeah, it is number 4. Well, I don't know if I did it in the right order, but that's the 4.
That's the 4.
Yeah. And that's the 4 things that control everything in the universe. It's funny, nowhere in it does it say pride or love or like the human spirit or free will or any of those things that we think make stuff happen. It's strange.
Because
that's a comedic
Oscar,
fact.
It's all an illusion. You know? That stuff actually doesn't do anything. It literally does nothing, guys and gals.
Well, it's subjective. It's like, those things are actually, if I'm going to do a non-funny, if I'm going to not joke about it, those things are all within the fundamental forces, not the subject. Like, pride is a thing that monkeys do, and monkeys are physical objects in a chemical, and it, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, pride is physical. In a certain sense, like the chemicals that make you feel pride are physical.
A really spiritual, hippy-dippy person would be like, yeah, man, consciousness protrudes into matter in the form of people's actions. But the thing is, consciousness is already in matter. Like, it's not a measurable force.
But it's there.
Yeah, like, all your subjective experience is biochemical. Like...
Yeah.
And it's not, obviously, to you, you're a conscious being. You're a soul in the realm of consciousness. God. So let's do a quick explanation of what consciousness means. Let's define it.
Let's have a quick intermission.
So, consciousness, a lot of people think like, oh, a chimp isn't conscious and a human is conscious. Like, no, that's not it at all. That's like so far away from what consciousness means.
Yeah.
So, consciousness is any sensation. The ancient Greeks called them qualia, right? Any sensation, so colors, sounds, smells, tastes, any of those things which are, we can explain how you taste, but we can't explain, the taste is only experienceable by you.
Yeah.
So the taste of steak is not real as far as science is concerned. It's subjective. The person who tastes the steak can experience the taste of steak.
Everyone can agree that a steak can taste good.
Yes.
We all know steak is good.
We all know steak has a taste.
But we would never be able to, like, mathematically show you the taste of steak.
It's immeasurable. You could never put it on paper. Like, the color red, we can explain the photons and how they enter your eye and how the brain chemistry works, but we cannot... no one can put the color red anywhere except in your brain. Like, it's only experienceable by yours. So, yeah, that's what consciousness is feeling any sensation. It's being a thing that can feel. And, you know...
I can feel!
And if you know that determinism is real and free will doesn't exist, most animals and humans and everything, I don't know if this is for sure a fact, but I'm pretty certain that we would have behaved exactly the same way throughout all of history, even if we didn't feel things. Like...
Yeah. And also, on that note, if anyone doesn't think that animals have souls, you are wrong.
You have not considered it deeply enough.
If you have a dog, watch your dog, look into its eyes, and you can see that it is feeling emotion the same way you feel emotion.
And not even like, a lot of people are like, oh, you can look in its eyes. They would be like, you're projecting, and they would be like, you know...
Oh, well, no. If you were like, if you're like completely sober mindset, right? You're like sitting there, you're calm. Your dog walks up to you. You can see, like, you can tell that it feels stuff based on its actions, right?
Well, it feels pain.
Yeah, it feels pain. It doesn't like to be hurt.
people don't like when people like remove it from like a dog, like a fish. If you stab a fish, it tries to fucking swim away because it feels scared. It feels adrenaline.
Yeah.
You know, like there's that thing like lobsters. So there's a thing in male humans where you know your dominance hierarchy. It's not as big now because we don't need it as much, but we can feel there's a dopamine system in humans, which is the same in a lot of mammals and the same in a lot of animals, which basically is like if you're a low standing in a social group, you will not feel good. And if you're a high standing in the social group, you will feel a good dopamine, you will feel better, you will feel safer and more comfortable, and you will have more joy if you feel like you're safe in your social group, right? That's male and female, but it's a different thing. So male lobsters specifically, which lobsters and humans split on the evolutionary pathway hundreds of millions of years ago. Like it's not a billion, but it's hundreds of millions of years ago. We're very, very distantly related. But lobsters still have the exact same system where other larger male lobsters and stuff, they can measure their brain and they can tell that lobsters feel shitty when they're of a low social standing, and they feel good when they're of a high social standing. And it's the same brain chemistry as is observed in mammals and humans.
Yeah.
So that stuff's old. That stuff deep. That lobster, if you could go read the lobster's mind, it would literally feel insecure, and then it would feel confident. Like, those are traditionally considered to be like human feelings, but they're not. They're old feelings that evolution already determined long ago as helpful. Like...
Yeah. So to sum up, lobsters, based on how happy they are, sets their place on the hierarchy.
Opposite, other way around.
Based on how...
Their hierarchy, they can tell their social standing, and it makes them either feel
yes,
insecure or confident.
Yeah. That's what I meant.
Yeah. So if they're like a shitty beta male lobster, they'll be like insecure about it, and if they're a big Chad malt lobster, they're gonna feel confident.
They'll feel happier.
Yeah, and it's the same brain pathway that humans have with dopamine.
That's funny.
Yeah.